Okay, my phone died. But so the scene in Angelina with Angelina Jolie and Johnny Depp where he's asking her to dinner. She says, "Ask me to dinner," and he says, "Will you have dinner?" And she says, "Women don't like questions." So then finally he has to figure out a way to say it that's not a question, and it's also not bossy. It's a great scene, but he goes through a lot of choices. I think his next choice was have dinner with me, and she said too aggressive or something like that, and he said, "I'm having dinner if you'll join me." I'm having dinner if you care to join me. Oh wow. I love that movie. But anyway, women really don't like questions. And the thing is, I feel that when you're a man in a marriage, you know, it's not the time to sit back and expect that a woman is going to present herself to you or offer herself to you. That's not her job. I mean, as I see it. And of course she can. Of course she can. Every day. I have no problem with that. But I was in a relationship where my husband expected me to approach him. And he seemed to think that it was his due. And it gave me nothing to respond to. So you know how like I think that the reason that women don't like questions is because women need something to respond to. And when a man expects for the whole thing to come from the woman, like it's her idea, you know, you're feminizing yourself. You're making yourself into a woman. And okay, so now I'm going to get in really big trouble because I guess I'm talking about heterosexual people here. And I'm sorry if somebody might feel left out, but I just don't know about something, and I don't know about anything but that. So I'm not going to talk about something I don't know about because then that would be foolish. So so I'm just saying that it, to me, it feels feminine, like it did, like in the scene with Angelina Jolie. Like it feels feminine to be given something to respond to, but it's not. It's in a way. It's right in the middle. It's not demanding, and it's not a question. It's it's inspiration. It's an inspiration. So what I would suggest is that I do believe, I'm not a man, but I really believe that when you approach, you know risk in a way, I mean, and you try to inspire a woman to respond to you, that probably feels very manly. When it succeeds, probably feels very manly. There is a risk of being rejected. And I think that these men that are trying to create a situation in their marriage where they never have to ask for intimacy. It will be just given to them out of this, sheer gratitude that their wives have for them. Well, that may be very true because I can tell you that I had a lot of gratitude for my husband. I was extremely grateful for him. And I was grateful to God for giving him to me. And I really did strive to be a good wife. But the one thing that felt very off to me was having that come from me. And I just think that I even tried to tell him this. I mean, the way I see it, okay, I'm going to leave myself out of it because now it's getting too personal and it's not fair to people that I'm talking about, maybe, but this happens a lot, I gather. I think a woman has to teach a man to love her. And I tried to do that. And I have a lot of, because I run these groups for women, there's a lot of women that are saying the same thing. Their men also did this whole thing almost where they reversed the roles. So if you want a really feminine woman, I'd say that you should, that when you're interested in intimacy, you should approach her in such a way that it fans the flame of her interest, And some of the things that I would think would work in this case are, like, I always had this, I don't know, I just love affection. So if I was doing dishes and somebody came up beside me, and here I am washing dishes, scrubbing, and if somebody just came up beside me and maybe kissed me on the side of the forehead, and very slow, even, in appreciation. I love appreciation. I mean, I would say if you did something like that, I'd be inspired. I'd be inspired for intimacy. So, I don't know. But other things, like, let's say I looked across the room, at a party at my husband, and he smiled at me. Oh my gosh, that's inspiring. That's really inspiring. Or, I mean, not in a sensual way, but when someone opens the door for me, or when men are being amazing, when they're opening doors, or when they're helping you with a package or something, that's very touching. I'm very touched by that, and that's very inspiring. But like I said, not in an intimacy way. But I was talking about husbands and wives, so even something like, just being affectionate on a daily basis, with just daily things that you do every day. I mean, what woman in her right mind wouldn't be crazy about a man like that? And so I just think that, rather than kind of, I feel like sometimes these men make these rules, like, okay, I heard this thing recently. It was, women, your job is to be the home. It's not your job to leave the home to make money. You should be there to soothe him in his successes and in his failures. That's what they said. You should offer yourself to your husband. Now, I have another problem with this, but it's for another video, but it's the autonomy one. I think autonomy is vitally important in a marriage, for the woman and for the man, so they have to have a separate life as well as a together life. In other words, I don't think a woman can wrap her life around a man and have that be her only life, unless she's going to be turned into a version of herself that's a little bit dry, a little bit kind of uninteresting, a little bit of not inexperienced, or not. I'm saying that I think, I'm just generalizing, so this doesn't have to be true, but I think that, like, people need to kind of go out into the world and figure out what they want to do with their life. You just have this life. We all have just this one life that I think is really important, to do something really significant, if you can, instead of just surviving, like create. And I just think every person needs that. So to tell a person that they can't go out into the world and it's not your job to make money. Okay, I get that, like, especially raising children. I do think, for myself, and again, I can't speak for everyone, but that it's so important to be a mommy. It's so important. It's what everything else depends on, but maybe you could use your imagination and maybe do even something from home during those years. But then when you're not chained to your home anymore, I think it's important to say, what is it that really makes me feel like my self-expression is happy, like I'm happy with my level of self-expression, and I'm creative, and I've got new things coming in all the time, new information. I mean, that really is what keeps you young. And you don't want to get old before your age. So anyway, I didn't mean to go into both of those things, but those were the two things that, in this new kind of make women great again thing, I kind of find that scary. I mean, I don't even find that, like, it's not even that just that I disagree. It sends chills down my spine in a real way to, remember the years where, I was with a person that really believed that I shouldn't have a life outside. I tried to do karaoke once because my mother died and I was having a hard time with her death, and I was really sad, and I found that singing, which I love to do, you know, made me feel way better. Now I know that, but singing brings you directly into your parasympathetic nervous system. So of course, you know, but I was finding it was just taking the edge off big time of my grieving for my mother. And oh man, I got punished so harshly for wanting to do that I finally just quit. I said, fine, I don't want to be punished anymore, you know? You know, and a third thing is this. If you listen to some of the other videos that these men make, there's videos out there where they're talking about that you have to punish a woman immediately when she does something wrong. What? No. And see, this is another thing that I went through was the punishment. A lot of times it would be things he would be imagining. If a man smiled at me in a grocery store, I would be punished for many weeks. And probably he would think about it 3 months from now and punish me some more. So you do not want someone that punishes you. And that has to be clear from the start. You don't punish him, but he doesn't punish you. There's no punishing going on. And by the way, punishing really doesn't work for children either, by the way. Children respond much better to just kindness. It's my belief that every child wants to please their parents. They really want to. For them, if they see that you're pleased, it makes them very happy. So I think sometimes you don't have to be so harsh with a child. You kind of could just let them know in an easy way, in a direct communication way even, if you don't like what they're doing. And that pretty much takes care of it most of the time. So anyway, I'm into kind of a gentler kind of living, a gentler way of us being with each other. And I don't know, just thought I would throw in my 2 cents. So thank you for listening. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.